Welcome to the Au. I'm your host, Beefloaf. This show is being powered by From the 108 and FromThe108.com, where you can get all of our content top to bottom, blogs, podcasts, and videos, including the world-famous Sunday Soak. You can also get all of our merch there as well, including the infamous Wave Sucks and hashtag 108 in Garb. Currently, we have a Wake Me for the Parade koozie selling at FromThe108.com. It's $5. Go get one, go get 10. It's the kind of thing that never goes out of style. This show is powered by you, the loyal 108 supporter. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Feel free to tickle the undercarriage in the process. Like, comment, turn on notifications, and most definitely super chat, because that's how we get paid, and that's how we continue to make the content you know and love. Tonight's guest. He's one half of the dynamic duo that make up 79th Halas, a long-standing Bears podcast, co-founder and CEO of the BarbersChair Network. And lastly, he's the host and producer of I'm Not Gonna Hold You on the HNB Media TV YouTube channel, which has 1.9 million subs outstanding. Scott Lewis, welcome to the show.
What's up, man? Glad to be here.
Glad to finally get you on here, man. I wanted to get you on some stuff for a while. I just haven't, it's tough to try to throw people into the 108 podcast environment because it's chaos at times. And I don't, we had Jeff Passan on, over the holidays, and we're big guests and all this stuff. And my co-host, My Sock Summer, said the word cuck to him 4 different times. I just don't know where shit's going to go. So I got to, now that I got this separate podcast, it's good to get guests in here first. And we could chat a little bit and get to know me. And then if my boys go crazy, we have another show, you know what to prepare for. So.
Well, the BarbersChair Network is like the inmates running the asylum as well. So,
That's good.
It's for me, yeah.
We got something in common there. Absolutely. Yeah, I wanted to have a conversation with you probably as long back as you jumped on a Spaces that I was doing with Josh Nelson. And you asked a couple questions, and we were chatting a little bit on there. And I was like, I thought your commentary was really insightful. I'm like, I want to get this guy on here.
That.
Then I heard you on Pinwheels and Ivy, and I loved the interview with my boy Zoe and them guys. You had a little Palka slander there, so my feelings were fucking hurt. And so I said, okay, we'll take a little time. But now I think that's all rolled off my back. We're ready to go and talk a little bit.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm happy to be on, man. Y'all some of my favorite followers in White Sox Twitter, so I'm definitely ready to chop it up.
Yeah, let's do it. I want to go back here. I want to go back kind of towards the beginning of your content journey. I was looking at I saw when you guys had the Haymarket live show, and Block Chicago did an article on you guys. And I didn't realize that the 79th Halas podcast goes all the way back to 2015. We're talking 8 years of podcasting. That's a long damn time. What I gleaned from the article, and so that's you and that's your brother, Joe, who is Flows on Twitter. You guys doing the podcast.
I'll give you the story on how you got that name, too.
I want to hear all this. But what's funny is, I read in the article, you had already moved to LA by the time you guys started this, right? You moved the year before. Was this just kind of how did this come together? Was this just hey, we want to cut it up anyway, so let's just record it. We're going to talk Bears because we like talking Bears. How did this get started?
Well, I think I moved to Los Angeles in September 2014. So I'm actually coming up on 10 years now, which is crazy. And I came out here for music management, which is something I still do now. I manage an artist named Pavy. You can check out all his music. And this is the guy, I've known him. We've known each other. That's probably my longest friend. I've known him 25 years. So, I've been working with him. So we both just decided to move out to Los Angeles because I had a friend, Thomas, and Thomas Pavy, actually the owners of H&B Media TV. And
okay. Yeah. Great.
I went to high school with Thomas, and he was like, y'all should come out to LA. So I visited a couple times. I loved it. And I was like, let's go there. So I've been out there for a year. And me and my brother, we love the Bulls. We love the White Sox. We're diehard fans of both of those. The Bulls are the reason I love sports. The 96 Bulls was the first, 96 final was the first sports thing I remember coherently watching. I was 8 years old. So, but we love the Bears. The Bears are our obsession. When I tell people I love the Bears, probably more than my mother, people be thinking I be joking. I'm probably dead ass serious, depending on the day. So we would just have conversations about it all the time when I would be at home, and just even when I'm back in LA, we talk on the phone. And then this is a time where podcasts were really getting popular, not to the point where everybody named mama got one now, but this was more where it was kind of like a niche thing a little bit. People knew about it, but not a lot of people had it. So I was I told my brother, like, let's just do a podcast. This was not, we're going to embark on a media career or anything like that. We just like, yo, we talk shit and we tweet about it. People like our tweets. Let's just do a podcast. And the first 8 episodes were some of the shittiest things you ever hear in your life. Like,
I'm glad you brought that up because I was trying to tell people, like, we've been doing the 108 podcast. It'll be 5 years we've been doing it in November. And we had a blog and we were doing videos and stuff with the Sunday Soak before that. But it was probably about a year ago because we have no media training. Maybe a year and a half ago, we finally started feeling like this is decent. Like, it took us a long time before we were like, oh, it actually sounds good.
Yeah. But it's the same thing. Like, we got into a groove probably like, I think the 2018 season when the Bears had a great season. That's probably when we got in our groove. But like, it was bad. Like, we were using like computer mics. Like, you could hear static. It was terrible. But the actual name of it came up with, we grew up on the south side of Chicago, like right off 79th Street, like around 79th and Kedzie. Like, we're like 2 minutes away from Marquette Park.
Oh, but, okay. Yep.
Like, we're right over there. Like, you know what Bogan High School is?
Yep, sure do.
We're walking distance from Bogan High School. So we're right off 79th. So, but we grew up all over on the west side. I mean, not west side, but on the south side. We lived in the Beverly area. We lived in West Inglewood for a couple of years. But majority of our time was spent over there on 79th. And my brother was like, let's just, from 79th Street to Halas Hall, and so we just put it together and then we just started there and we're like 250 some episodes in now. So it's
in 8 years.
Season 9 now.
That's really impressive. Now let me ask you this question because I do a podcast with my brother too, and I have a brand with my brother, and do you find it tougher sometimes working with your brother, or do you think it's easier to like get the constructive criticism out to each other, like, hey, we didn't do this thing right or whatever,
It's easy as hell. It's easy as hell because if you listen to us talk, you think we hate each other. Like, just like I never like call him by his name. Like, we each call each other Fat Man. That's like our name for each other. So we both do that. Or like I'll just text him like, hey, bitch. Like, so like, there's no soft, we both like just joke with each other. So it was easy for us to go. And like, I'm more of like the color commentary, like joking. He used to play football, so he's more of the X's and O's.
He's got the technical side of that.
Yeah, nice little compliment. Only X's and O's I know is like when I used to play Madden and shit. So, it's a perfect flow. And so like, it just kind of like, it's easy. It's the easiest podcast we do. And so, because it's my brother. So like, and we're only 2 years apart. So we went to high school together. We went to college together for a little before. I went to Columbia College in Chicago. He was at Columbia for like 2 years, and then he transferred to Roosevelt in Chicago. Okay. So like, we've always been around each other. So it's real easy.
Where'd you go to high school?
Curie High School. Curie High School.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. We're Curie hooligans. And I like to call Curie it's like the gang United Nations. Like every gang in the city goes there. So like it was kind of like the Wild Wild West. Like I was there from 03 to 07, so it was like during that time.
Excellent. Yeah, I played a lot of ball in Curie because I went to De La Salle. My brother and I went to De La Salle. We were in high school together. We're 2 years apart as well.
Yeah, my brother probably got some battles about y'all wars. Y'all.
I'm sure. But when we were in grade school, some of the grade school leagues were at Curie, so we would play a lot of games at Curie. Some of them on the main gym, but some of them in the kind of some of the side gyms. So yeah, I've played a lot of basketball. I played a lot of basketball at Curie. It's interesting.
Yeah, I had a good time there, man. Like, I feel like Columbia felt like more of like a 5-year internship more than like an actual college. Like, I feel like my college years were the first 4 years in Los Angeles where I was just like I was living the black entourage. That's pretty much my first 4 years in LA. But and Curie's kind of like where I got the I guess like the drug for entertainment in general. Like, that's why I wanted to do music, even just the sports stuff. Like some of the early conversations out here, like my friend Mike. I don't know if you see my Pillars hat, like the Pillars clothing line in Chicago. They got 4 stores. Like, that's my best friend. That's his store. So we used to argue about sports in the hallway. So all that came from there. And like the reason we call my brother Joe Flows is because I never told the story on air. He ain't gonna get mad, but he's told the story before. But
no one's listening. Just tell him no one's listening.
So my buddy Mike, who runs Pillars clothing line, my brother used to rap. He used to rap, and he used to call himself Young Flows. And like he would be, every time he rapped, so Mike just shortened it, just call him Flows. So like everybody at Curie just called him Flows. So that's how He's been flows forever. Like, and sometimes I don't even call him Joe. So,
and that's the Twitter handle. That's where he's at with the Twitter handle too.
And it's been like a 20-year nickname. So.
So you went to you went to Columbia. So you did have you were pointing in the direction of doing media of some sort. You mentioned music. Were you more interested in the business side of music, or did you actually want to? Did you want to, have your own group, or like kind of what were you thinking when you're getting?
I'm gonna let you in on a secret. Every black man has at least 3 raps.
Everyone
has at least 3 raps. They might not have dropped it or actually released it, but we all have at least a couple raps. I had a couple. I was terrible, but
when I see Herb Lawrence at the ballpark, maybe even tonight, I'm going to tell him to drop all 3.
I know Herb got a rap. We've all had a rap. But I kind of went back and forth because like the funny thing is like when I was a little kid, like that's why I kind of feel like it's destined for me to come to where I'm at right now, because my mom always tell me like when I was a little kid that I would watch like the Bears, the White Sox, and the Bulls with my grandfather. Now my grandfather died when I was 2, so I don't remember none of this.
Okay.
But she said this is what happened. So then like when I was a little kid, I used to watch hella Disney movies like Lion King, Toy Story. I wanted to be an animator at first. Then in the late 90s, everybody WWF fans. So I wanted to be a wrestler, but then I realized I'm too damn short to be a wrestler. So I was like, I can be a WWE writer. But then, I started growing up. I started becoming a big hip hop head. So I wanted to do something like, I tried rapping, didn't work. I tried producing for a little bit, didn't work. And I was like, you know what? Who's the guys who make the money from the rap? And so then Dame Dash, co-founder Rockefeller Records, Diddy, those guys like guys who I like idolize. I really wanted to be that. So that's why I went to Columbia 4th. So I got my degree in I got a Bachelor of Arts. So I went for music management. But I learned everything that pretty much is learned about the entertainment industry while I was there. And actually the funny thing is at Curie, my major was radio television, which is hilarious now because I only took the major because there was this girl I wanted to talk to who was in that class. Yes. And it was the only one I felt like wouldn't bore the shit out of me. I'm not going to take culinary classes for like. So, but it's funny now because now that I produce, audio and TV type shit, I'm like, damn, like I wish I would have paid attention a little more. So,
you could have learned a little bit about this shit.
I could have learned a lot more. Right, yeah. So, everything just kind of like happened. But I went to Columbia for music management, and that's kind of like where I kind of like got my foot in the Chicago entertainment scene while I was there.
And then that created the move to LA, right? That was the impetus for the move to LA.
Well, not right away because majority of the people who I know in Los Angeles, like there's like 3 or 4 that I went to college with.
Okay.
Who we all went to Columbia at the same time. So I got a lot of Columbia people out here. But now at first I was gonna move to Atlanta. That was which is funny now because I'm really not a fan of the South whatsoever. Like if anybody who has been to Atlanta know there's Atlanta and then there's Georgia. There's a distinct difference between the two. Like so I would go like I graduated in 2012. So like 2011, 2012, my last 2 years in college, I spent a lot of time in Atlanta. One of my friends, DC, he's a music engineer. He's from Milwaukee, but he's in Chicago. He didn't engineer for some of the greats. And he actually lives in Los Angeles now. He's actually one of my neighbors. He's walking distance from me. He still works with us. But he moved to Atlanta to work with 2 Chainz. So 2 Chainz' first album, my homie DC mixed a great majority of that album.
Oh, wow.
And me and my homie Pavi, we were in the studio for a lot of that shit. So we would just come to the sessions, and I always give 2 Chainz love because he would let us record in the studio after he got done.
Wow,
so
that's
might not
nice.
be till about 3 a.m. in the morning, but we was in our 20s, so we was up.
Still though.
Yeah, he would come in and he would get done. He said, "Yo, y'all got it for rest of the night," and it would be like. I'm talking about this is like the height of 2 Chainz, but like every record you hear on the radio he's on, and I'm just like, oh shit, like. And
you're getting to use everything right after.
Right.
It's crazy.
I'm like a kid in the candy store, like, and he was like super cool, like so he always showed love to us, and he let us use the studio. So I was like, oh, I'm moving to the A, but then my homie Thomas, who I just said like he moved out to not New York, but Los Angeles 2012, and. He was like, yo, y'all should come out. Maybe a year after he was there, y'all should come out. Let's shoot a video while we out here. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we came out, and I'm not gonna lie. First time I didn't really enjoy it out here. I was like, it's one thing about LA that people don't tell you about. Like Chicago, it's real lit up. Like street lights are bright. The lights here are very low. Like I'm used to it now, but the street lights here are very low. And
so if you don't know where you're going, that's a problem, especially at night. Like
exactly. And so like even some of the more lit up streets, like you're walking down Sunset Boulevard or something, it's still not that lit. So that took a while to get used to. And then I also kept thinking about like Boys in the Hood and like drive-bys and shit. I was like, I'm not really fucking with this. And so then like maybe like 2 months later, we went back out there to shoot another video. And man, we had a blast. Like we were everywhere, kicking out a great time. And you know, I'm a religious person. I'm not like over the top religious, but I promise you, like I was literally washing my dishes and I heard like a voice say to me, "Move to Los Angeles." Like, and I was like, now you know, people say God talked to you. Like God talks to people. That's the first time I actually heard it in my head. And so I told my mama. She was sitting right there. My mama used to be. She's a retired Chicago public school teacher.
Okay.
So she was working on her, and I told my mom, like, yo, I'm moving to LA. This was like March of 2013. She's like, oh, okay, cool. Probably thinking like, fuck you, what you talking about? And maybe a year and a half later, we actually getting ready to move, and everybody was like, oh shit, like my farewell party felt like a funeral. Like I'm not being shipped to Iraq. Like I'm going to Los Angeles. Like,
exactly.
Let's relax.
So 4-hour flight back whenever you need
to. Exactly. So
that
was like that what made me move, and it was a great decision. I don't plan on leaving anytime soon. So.
I love it. Let me get to a couple drinks here. I got my man Baloney. He says my initial investment to Wu-Tang Financial. Yes.
Thank you. We appreciate your service. We appreciate your service. I will let the RZA and the Jizza know that your investment has been worth it.
Yeah, make sure to diversify your bonds. Next up is Matt Zwoski. He says, "Cheers, fellas."
Shout out to my
Big
man
fan
Zoe.
of this duo. Thank you.
I really wish I'd have got me a drink before here. I could.
I'm sorry. That's my fault. I should have let you know. Next time, Scott.
It's all good.
Next time, Scott, you and I are going to get fucked up in this 45 minutes. Does that sound good?
Say less.
And then Jeff Chester says, "Cheers, boys. Love the content." Thank you, Jeff.
Shout out to you, Jeff. Shout out to all y'all in the chats, man.
All right. So next up, you know, fast forward, you got the 79th Halas podcast going, and you said about 2018, that good season. Matt Nagy's here. You know, Mitch Trubisky, you get the kind of like the one good Mitch season, and they pop up and they go to the playoffs. This is around the time when you start the BarberChair Network. So what was the impetus to like go from just having a podcast, you and your brother, to pushing out further where you're going to do more stuff, you're going to potentially add more people? What kind of got you thinking in that direction?
So every time I tell somebody, I ask, do you want the long version or do you want the short version?
Give me the long version.
Okay, here's the long version. So I used to work at Amazon Studios, and not the website, but not the app, the actual studio. So basically, like you seen The Boys, right?
Yeah.
So this is a studio that produces The Boys, Marvelous Miss Maisel, all that shit y'all see on Amazon. So I worked there for about 3 years. So I worked. I got there. That was my first actual good job in LA. I was working in some bullshit when I first got here. Like I was working at like Ralph's grocery store. And I quit that after like 2 weeks because I was like, I didn't move out to LA to work at a fucking grocery store. Like I could have stayed in Chicago for this shit. Then I worked at FedEx in Westwood area, which is more like UCLA campus. So I would run into like every NBA star. Here's the funny thing: I took Draymond Green's first passport photo. A lot of people don't know that. I took Draymond Green's first passport photo because UCLA is like the off-season hub for the NBA. And this is like a month after the Warriors won their first championship. So he came in there. I was like, oh shit, Draymond Green. So we would take photos. So I took his passport photo. So I was there for a little bit. I got fired from that job because I was on my phone too much. And then I worked at a shitty insurance company over here in Beverly Hills. I was there for like 4 months, and then they got rid of me because I guess I wasn't making enough sales. And then after that, I was like unemployed for like 6 months, and it was like really depressing. And it was to the point where I felt like, man, I might have to move home. And you know, I brought up my man Pavi, but he's my roommate. He's my roommate for my first 6 years out here. He held it down for us on the financial tip while I was getting my shit together. And you know,
it's good to have good friends. You know, like
always good. He's a great friend. I'm blessed to have great friends. So I went to New York. I took like here's what, like I filed my taxes late, so I got like my tax refund check. I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to New York. I know hella friends in New York, so I went to New York, had a great time, and I finally got hired by Amazon Studios, and I was there for about 3 years, and it was cool. The first year and a half, I enjoyed it. It was a blast. You get all the movie studio perks. You get to go to these different movie premieres. You get to go to you get to see free movies. I got to see like Marvel movies for free and shit.
Oh, nice.
And, it was fun. It was a good time. I met like a lot of celebrities over there. And I think just being there, I started like picking up on like the media landscape and things they were doing. And just seeing like all these meetings that I had to sit in, and like all these different entertainers would come in, and I was like, I want to do something with that, because I was also kind of like not getting tired of music, but I was kind of getting a little frustrated with it. And I had this one meeting, and this was like towards like the end, not the end, but like towards the end of my first year at Amazon. And we had a meeting. They were talking about like content that like, what black people want to watch. That was like the topic of like the fucking interview and fucking media. And I was the only black dude in there. So I'm sitting there like, how y'all gonna tell me like what black people want to hear and watch?
Right.
So I was like, yeah, enough of this shit. So I was just like, I got to do something. Like I want to do like, it's not all black. Like we got all types of races to work with us. But like, I just want to do something like for us that we have like our own, type of network. So I initially was like, yo, we need to do something like that. So I hit up my brother. First person I hit up was my brother. And I hit up my homie Pierce. And I was like, yo, we need to do this. Let's start a company. Both of them was down. And my brother came up with the name, BarbersChair Network. He came up with the name. Nice. And he was like, yo, where's the number one source of conversation for black people, mainly black males? The fucking barbershop. You know what I'm saying? It's the barbershop. I've had many times where there was this barbershop in West Inglewood called Mr. Ellis's Barbershop. And I talked about this in the Black Chicago interview. And my dad would take us there. And this is like during the height of Bulls Mania. So this is like during the finals. I'm with this one dude. He would get a fucking bull tattooed in the back of his head, a logo. Every championship run, every time they made the finals for like the whole second three-peat, he got that bull in his head. And we would just be having conversations like, it was kind of like the movie Barbershop a little bit, where like our barbers, Mr. Ellis, was like, he'd be like a philosopher, like he would be like giving you, life advice. And I never forget one time, it was this lady came in and this kid told him, oh, Mr. Ellis, I got all A's. And he showed him the car, and there was some B's and C's on that motherfucker. He was like, this ain't all A's. The mother got mad. So like it just took me back to them days. And I was like, yo, that's a perfect name for it. BarbersChair Network. So we did that. We got the website up and running, and we launched probably like 4-5 months after. And then I did not, and so it just kind of started as like something cool to do till like these last, I'll say 3 years, like really during the pandemic year, which is crazy because everybody was at home. That's kind of where the shit like took off. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody had nothing else to do but sit on their ass and listen to watch shit.
Absolutely, yeah. And people were starving for content of any sort. And there were no TV shows being made. And then when sports finally did come back, everyone wanted to get as much as they could of all that stuff, for sure.
Exactly.
That totally makes sense.
Everybody wanted to do that. And like one of the podcasts we had, which is on our Patreon now because it's way too wild to be on regular feeds. I would probably lose a lot of business connections if they heard the things we talk about on there. But
that's just for the paying customers. You can't give it out there.
Like it would be me, Pavi, my homie Damien. We would sit up in my living room with like a table, and we would walk to the gas station, get some alcohol, and just get drunk and just say the wildest shit. Like it makes like our group chat on audio. And so people really love that during the pandemic. They loved it. So that took off, and then that's when like we started actually covering the Bears, and that just kind of like took us to another fucking dimension, man. So it's been crazy.
Yeah, I mean, when you were doing that, when you were starting your own network, did you play with a lot of different show ideas and a lot of different combinations of people, or did you kind of know like, I know these are the people I really want to involve, and then we'll kind of go from there?
Well, yeah, I had an idea of people I wanted to involve, and a lot of them we still work with today. It was mainly, just 79th Halas was like the main thing, but we did the show called Ball on Live, which first was just like an overall sports podcast, but then we narrowed it down to last 2 years was just about basketball, which we just did the finale because we kind of like we got like a new basketball show called Shot Clock Show, which debuting this week.
Okay.
But it was only like a couple shows, but like we just really just got like all our homies involved with it. Like there's this podcast called Random Acts of Podcast out in Jacksonville. Like those are my guys, Amp, Devin, Mr. Jefferson, all them. They're cool people, but they have their own following. But that was like, yo, I can, put y'all shit on our network too and just kind of increase both followings. And that really helped a lot. So it just kind of went like it's something fun. It's still fun now, but it's way more of a business now. Like, I'm like this morning I had like a Logan Roy, Waystar Royco ass staff meeting, like much different than 3 years ago. But it's still like the initial fun that we had.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like the idea of co-opetition, we have some of that in Sox Twitter, where we have each other on each other's shows. We help push up if someone's got a live stream, we'll push it. Like with our Twitter and trying to help out. We're not like commingling. There's no money going back and forth, but it's just kind of like supporting each other, kind of. So yeah, I in general, I really like that idea. Let me get to one quick drink here, and that's Drew Boggs. He said joined a few minutes late. And he said he's loving this. So thank you, Drew. Appreciate it.
Shout out to you, Drew. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man.
Love the super chats. Keep those coming if you have a few bucks to spare. So you get the network up and running, and then at some point, you and your brother get credentialed. And you don't just get credentialed for the Bears. I see your Twitter. I see you at Clippers games and doing stuff. Yeah. So how did that come about? How did someone who's a total, because my vision of the credentialed life is that I feel like it's always married to some TV station, some newspaper, some et cetera. But clearly that's not true. How did that happen for you guys?
Well, it varies by team, honestly, because the Lakers still ain't answering my email. So fuck the Lakers for now. It's kind of like I gotta give all the credit to my man Terrence Tomlin, my man Eugene McIntosh from the Bigs Media. We couldn't have got those Bears credentials without those guys. They're credentialed by every team in the city, actually, except for the Blackhawks. They're credentialed by every team in the city. Okay. And right around the pandemic season, so that 2020 season that the Bucks won in the Super Bowl. Yeah. And there wasn't nobody in the crowd, but they needed somebody. They were like so busy, they needed people to like get on the Bears beat. And of course, I couldn't do it because I'm in Los Angeles. My brother was like, "I'll do it." So my brother did it for the first full season, and he did all of that. And the next year, I'm not gonna get into specifics about what happened, but they were looking to go in another direction. But my brother had forged such a great relationship with the Bears communications people, like everybody over there. They're great, cool people. I get a Bear, like we can talk about like the history of how bad the Bears organization has been, but they've got a lot of great people in that building that are like super welcoming to us. And so they gave them a full credential. Nice. They was like, "We like y'all. We like what y'all doing at BarbersChair Network. We're gonna give you a full credential." So my first game was October 2021. It was actually during the middle of the White Sox Astros series. Okay. Because that Game 3 comeback, the Lurie.
Yeah, Lurie home run. I was in the crowd for that, getting beer all over me from that shit.
I know it was amazing. Now, so the Bears played the Raiders that night, and that was my first game. Now we go back to good friends. So my brother was like, "Yo, they're gonna, why don't you start covering? They'll let me get 2 credentials now." So I'm like, "All right, cool." Like Vegas to Los Angeles Disney World, like I can be there in 3-4 hours. So I'm like, "Cool, let's do it." Now my brother's flight got canceled last minute, and he couldn't find another flight in time to make the game. Okay. So my homie Pavi, I was like, "Look, you know what I'm saying? Could you drive me out there? I can't get you a credential, but I will. You get a ticket, come." He's like, "If I could go to Vegas, fuck it, let's go." So
yeah, wouldn't want to.
Yeah, we drove to Vegas that night, and that was my first game, and it was like kind of surreal because like I've been a Bears fan all my life, and I have only been to up to that point. I'd only been to 2 Bears games like in my entire life because Bears tickets is ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
It's like I went to.
Oh yeah, no, I grew up with the Jordan Bulls, Scott, and I went the only game I went to in my entire was '98. Because I was 20 years old and I could afford to buy my own ticket. Like when we were kids, we couldn't afford no fucking Bulls tickets.
Man, dog, I had one opportunity to see the '90 Bulls because my godfather was team security. Like he's an Illinois State police officer, but they used to hire like local cops. And I was supposed to be at the remember the mailman don't deliver on Sundays?
Yeah.
I was supposed to be at that game, but I had the fucking flu. And my mom would let me go. But we're in Vegas. Yeah, we're in Vegas, and everybody in the Bears beat was so warm and like loving, like so like that's because they fucked with my brother. They was like, "Oh, you're Joe's brother." All show me love. I know a lot of Bears fans like they joke on me and my brother now calling us we joined the corporation because we be like, oh, so and so, like,
access.
oh, y'all don't like so and so, but like he cool, and they like, oh, you one of them now. But they all showed me love. It was a great game. I always remember that was Justin Fields' first passing touchdown. It was my first game covered, and the game was great. And I remember the Sox game. I left Allegiant Stadium, and we were at the Mandalay Bay, so it was like across the street from Allegiant Stadium.
Okay.
So I'm walking, I tweet, yo, what's the White Sox score? I really couldn't get that much service. Yeah. Everybody was like, don't even turn the game on. Like, everybody like, don't even waste your time. Don't even fucking turn the game on. So, like, I get back to my hotel, and I was like, man, I'm going to sleep. And then I went to sleep, and then, like, I woke up, like, I'm talking like 2 batters before. I woke up when Yaz hit that home run. When Yaz hit that home run was when I woke up. And then Lurie hit the home run. I'm yelling through the entire fucking. I went to the House of Blues and like the first floor of Mandalay Bay. I was buying everybody drinks after game 3. I'm coming back.
We're gonna win this series.
Shit now. Yeah, it's over. But that was like my first game, and then I did 5 games that season, and then last year they gave me my full season pass. So I did 10 games last year. And they've got, man, I got love for everybody over. They be giving us parking passes when we out of town. I go to practice. It's all love. So now with the Clippers was cool too because the NBA is a little tight on theirs too. But the NBA, we talk about H&B Media TV. My homies Pavi and Thomas, they've been covering the Clippers since the 2019 season.
Okay.
So the year that the Raptors won a championship was the year they started covering the Clippers, and so. Our president, Dante, the president of our company, he knows people who work for the Clippers. You know, he went to college with a couple of them, and they cleared my thing. So my first season, I just finished my second season. So that's pretty much how I got good. So really, where I want to stress is like relationships, man. Like I always say this with I don't delete numbers. Like I've had the same number since 2008. Now for those who have my number, that will be changing. The minute Jay-Z or somebody gives me a check for BarbersChair,
oh yeah. But, understandable.
Yeah, exactly. But like I had the same number. I don't because you never know who you might need people for. Like I try not to end even as people who I don't fuck with no more. I try to end it on an amicable, situation. I only have one person's number blocked. That's my ex-girlfriend. I'm not gonna get into that. But pretty much, I keep relationships. So you never know what somebody might help you. So without those few people, I wouldn't have been able to get into the Bears and to the Clippers. You know what I'm saying? And now we cover the Braves too in Atlanta.
Nice. Okay.
My guy Dante, who's the president of our company, he does the Braves games out here for us and for MLBBro.com, which is Rob Parker used to be with ESPN, so he works with them too. So it's kind of been like just relationships. That's why I say always stress. The biggest thing about networking, everybody says networking, just don't be an asshole. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't like be a regular person. Like when people don't like when you kicking with somebody and then you immediately get the business. Like just have a drink.
Just relax.
Chill, like be a human being. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If people like you, they're gonna want to help you. So that's probably like my number one thing with everything we've done is just, like I can be an asshole when I need to be, but like to just be a good person. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what it comes down to.
I mean, that's a great tip. Just don't be an asshole. Just be friendly to people. What do you got to lose? I remember I was doing a side job with a guy when I was in college, and one guy had a real hot temper. We were doing some plumbing stuff or whatever. And a guy was yelling at him, told him to move his truck or whatever. And I thought, man, this guy's gonna get into a fight. I better get out in the alley just in case, in case I gotta help out. And he's like really nice to him, whatever. And he comes back in. And I'm like, what happened? I thought you're gonna throw hands with this guy. He's like, hey, you got to kill him with kindness, kid. I always stuck with me like that guy was pissed off, but he's like, you know what? I'm still gonna be nice to him. I'm gonna leave this as it is.
Because you also know, like, you'll never know where these people gonna end up. Like I've heard stories and stories and stories of. I think there was one. I forgot who. You remember the old TV show 227?
Of course, yes.
So,
Jack K.
Jack K. So
she's still in the database up here.
Yeah, exactly. So Jack K. She was on somebody. So I think it was Jennifer Hudson's show. I saw this clip, and she was like, "Yeah, I don't be getting as many scripts, and I wish I wasn't rude to the PA, the production assistant." She's like, "You'll never guess who the production assistant became." They was like, "Who? Kenya Barris?" I'm like, "Well." That motherfucker owned like hella shit in Hollywood. He done Blackish. He done done everything. You could have got a couple jobs, and since you was an asshole to him,
they got your name in bold not to hire you after this shit.
right? Exactly. Like, you never know. Like, and that's what I always say about the people who I've met. I'm a big Stephen A. Smith guy, and like I met Stephen A. Smith last season at a Clippers Lakers game, and I've been watching Stephen A. since I was like in fucking high school. Like when he did the is what he said. It's Kwame Brown. Like who cares? Like I've been a fan since then. So I seen him like we were all on the court waiting for the warm ups, and I did. You know how when you like you trying to pretend like you on your phone or something. So
Yeah.
I saw Stephen A. talking to Russell Westbrook's father, and I was like, well, if I walk past him, I'm not gonna be able to talk. So I just pretend like I was on my phone and shit to wait for them to be done with that conversation. And so once I got done talking, I introduced myself. And Stephen A. He was super great. He was like, man, nice. I was like, man, you're a big inspiration of mine. Like I've been watching you forever, and I started my own company. He was like, man, you here with us already, so that means you're on the right path. So that's like, he don't even know like what those type of words meant, to him.
Yeah, right. That's cool. That's nice really cool, man. Yeah, no question about it. So you mentioned HNB Media TV. They have 1.9 million. They're almost creeping up on 2 million subscribers on YouTube, which is insanity. Hey, I mean, you see some of these crazy like numbers on YouTube and I'm sitting here. We have like 2,500 subscribers on 108 YouTube. I'm like, man, you got a long way to go to get to one of these big ones. So you have a show on there. I'm not going to hold you. How did this come about? And is this like how do you feel about it? It's mostly you solo, right? I mean, you occasionally have guests on the show. I've seen it several times, but like it's usually just you. So how did that come about? And then what are the challenges of doing a solo show? Like I couldn't even imagine because I feel like without the ability to bounce off one or two people, I would be deer in the headlights. I'd be like Garth Algar when Wayne left the set and he didn't know what to say. He's just staring. Like that would be me, I think, if I was by myself.
I have a great relationship with those two dudes. Like I said, Pavi, that's my friend since 1998. I managed his music career, and Thomas TPJ is what he goes by. I went to high school with him. So these dudes, they started their podcast is called Hoops and Brews, and like they've been doing this since about 7 years. Like the 2016 finals, right when the Cavaliers came back against the Warriors.
Oh yeah, what a great series.
I remember Pavi telling me his idea for the podcast. He's like, man, we should just have a podcast where people just talk basketball and just like drink beer all fucking day. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good. Like it wasn't something I wanted to do at the time, but like he did it, and my homie Thomas, he's like a Swiss Army knife. Like he's a creative, he's a director. Like he directs short films, music videos. Okay. He's really great. And so he does everything. They got that shit moving to the point where they have like a huge follower base. So they got their website has been like cracking, not website, but their YouTube subscribers. And so Thomas has been getting me to do a show for like since 2018, 2019. I was like, I don't want to do that shit. Like, I don't really want to like see myself on, on TV and shit like that. Like, I'm good. And he just kept bugging me about it. And then like 2021, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll do it. And at the time, they were producing stuff for Baron Davis and Slick Sports, which is BD, what we call BD, BD's company. And I was like, fuck it, I'll do it. And then like I would be around at Baron Davis' studio or whatever, and just kind of like, picking up how they do stuff. And I'm like, all right, let's try it. And it's been 2 years now. We've been on 3 seasons. It's been 2 years, and I'm real comfortable with it now. And it actually kind of helped me too because I've lost probably like 70 pounds since then. Like I would see myself, and I was just like, I got tired of looking at myself. Like, damn, I just like my head. Like, I feel like I ain't got no neck. Like I was just like, I was like, enough of this. And it kind of like had that. And then I went to the White Sox game. I forgot who they played, but I know that big ass ramp at the Sox games. You going up, and I've been up that ramp so many times I count my life. But I was out of breath, and I was like, yeah, I can't do it. And I went to like an Angels Dodgers game. I was tired. So I was like, between that and seeing myself on my show, I was like, I gotta lose some weight. And so that kind of like helped me.
Nice. Incentivize you to get it going. Yeah, nice.
Exactly. So, but it is tough. It was tough at first to do like a solo thing. It kind of feel like you're talking to yourself. But after I got into a groove, probably like my first 5-6 shows, it was real weird. But now it's like I'm so, trained into it now. I write a lot of notes. That's probably like the best way. Like I'll like open up my Apple Notes and I'll just be like writing shit. So maybe I'll see something while I'm at a game. I'll watch something. Let me put this down. And then like the day before I put it together. So I have an entire rundown of what I'm going to go over, make sure my stats are right. So I'm not fucking up anything. And then also it's live at the same time. So
yeah, makes it tougher.
We do a live stream, makes it tougher. But now it's like kind of like it's easy now to the point, but it's fun. I feel like it's one of the main things I'm passionate about, and I want it to be at the level of like a Pat McAfee show or Dan Le Batard show. And like I'm actually for season 4, I've got like some great ideas what we're gonna do with that. We're gonna expand it a little bit, and it's gonna be, without giving up too much, it's gonna kind of be like Scott and Friends. I'll say that much. Like
okay, nice.
If people think the show is crazy now, it's gonna be 100 times crazier.
Well, I enjoyed it. I would recommend everyone listening to this to go check it out because it's good. You do materially sports, but you'll run into other directions too, and it is rundown style. So it's gonna be 7-8 topics and
real
just boom,
PTI.
boom, boom. Yeah,
PTI
basically
level.
Yep.
Yeah, and we also got kind of like a spinoff to it. What I call the off season. It's kind of like my interview show where like, we sit down like this where I interview people for like 40 to an hour. And like, I kind of want to do like, interview format so I can like get my interview chops up. And last year I interviewed Jeff Pearlman, author, he executive producer, Winning Time. I had him on there. Clinton Yates from ESPN, Dominique Fox. I've had so many people on. So like we actually working on season 2 right now, and that'll be dropping within the next month. We got some cool guests on there. So it's just kind of been like, that's where I went from, I want to make this a career now. Because at first, when I was doing 79th Halas, it was just kind of like, it's just some fun shit I want to do. Then I was like, you ever had that moment like, I'm kind of good at this. Like, I was like,
it's far enough along where like you can see the path here,
Like, I'm kind of good at this. Like, and somebody stopped me one time, like maybe like 3-4 months into me doing the show, I'm going to the fucking doctor. Like, I'm picking up a prescription, and somebody just grabbed me, and I'm like, hold on, I'm from Chicago. So I'm like, don't be fucking grabbing me. So I was like, yo, you Scott, right? I'm like, yeah. Oh man, I love your show. I'm not gonna hold you. And mind you, it's like 9:00 in the morning. I'm like, oh man, thank you, I appreciate it. And I was just like, once I got over the initial shock of somebody just grabbing me, I was like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. So it's just,
absolutely,
I kind of kept up. You know what I'm saying? But it's been fun.
That's great. Well, you started to get into it. I wanted the last question about content stuff. What do you and Joe got going for this year? What's going to be new with the network?
Oh man, we got a lot of stuff coming at the network. A lot of big things coming. Some stuff in the works that I can't confirm now, but I'll just say this: anybody who came to 79th and Halas 200 live show last year at Haymarket, which was an overall success. And everybody came to our draft party 2 months ago at Haymarket, which is great. And shout out to Haymarket Pub and Brew. If y'all haven't gone up there, go up there. Great people over there. Those are our partners. We throw a whole bunch of events over there. I always say, man, you always need a sequel. That's all. I'm gonna just say that. You always need a sequel.
All right. I like
Keep your schedules open these next couple of months. But we're getting ready for season 9 of 79th and Halas. We'll be doing our second training camp. So I'll be getting back to Chicago in like a month. So we're going to be doing a lot of stuff. Training camp will be all the games again. And we got a whole bunch of baseball content this year. So the 40-40 Club, which is my homie Pierce, the homie Courtney, they're doing that. My man Sid. And we've also got NL East podcast called the NL East World Report. Dante, he's out in Atlanta. He covers the Braves. So they're doing that. And then one of our newest content creators, Sid, he's a big Mets fan. So they talk about a whole bunch of NL East things right there. First episode's out now. The second one will be out tomorrow. So we got that going on. And then once the football season starts, football, basketball, we're going to have a lot of stuff. We got Shot Clock Show, which is a new basketball podcast with the homie Mariano, my homie Just Smith. They're like basketball guys. Like, so their first episode will be dropping this week. They're going to be talking about the NBA draft, free agency. But once the NBA season starts, they're going to be, weekly with it. 79th and Halas, I'm not going to hold you, season 4. And we've got merchandise coming. So we are working some high quality merchandise for everybody. The BarbersChair store will be up and running by this fall. So working on a lot of things, man. I'm excited about what we got going on. So big things for the company. So, but for season 9, no, we're gonna be more ridiculous. We're gonna be even crazier. And if Justin Fields is what we think he will be, it's gonna be a lot of great victory podcasts this year. And shout out to all the cleaning crew at Soldier Field who don't be kicking us out of them suites when we record. I appreciate y'all. We're gonna have a lot more of y'all for that this year. So
That's great. I hate to bring this back to a downer, but let's talk about the White Sox for a little bit. I know it's I know it's not
Everything was going good.
I had to ruin it here and talk about the White Sox. So
Yeah.
I've seen you on Twitter. I've seen you on your shows, basically proclaiming there is no way you're buying into this fucking White Sox team. So my question to you is, are you completely out? Is there absolutely nothing that would get you bought back into this group right here? Or what could get you bought back in?
Well, I said before they began this, I called 7 series stretch, which like would show me what kind of team they are. With like, the Yankee series, the Dodgers series, the stretch they're in right now. I was like, if they can get out of this, 7 series with like a 5-2 record or a 4-3 record, I'll at least watch them every day. They're not starting that off too good right now. They're like 1-3.
Yeah.
And I'm not expecting good things from this Rangers series. I watch a lot of baseball, and the Rangers are a good baseball team. But I kind of feel like with the White Sox, kind of like how I feel about the Bulls. Like, if there's one gift that being in the media has given me, is I'm not as live and die with my teams as I used to be, because the job aspect comes into it. And a couple of my homies who are already in the media told me about that. They're like, "Oh, you're not going to be as diehard of a Bears fan as you used to be." I was like, "That's bullshit." Like, that like I live and die with them. But it's true. Like, sometimes, like, once the game is over, and I'm not saying that I'm not mad at certain things. We're still fans at the end of the day. But you have to be non-biased when you're,
right.
media sometimes, So there was times like, I don't like losing to the Packers. I don't give a fuck if we was trying to tank last year.
Right.
That second game, both games, actually, I was in Green Bay steaming, like walking out of Lambeau Field and here, Bears still suck. But it's like, it kind of like channeling. So maybe if I am upset, like 30 minutes later, I don't care. It's like, okay, we about to go talk to Justin Fields. We're about to go talk to Coach Flu. So it's like you automatically get into that. So with I don't let them ruin my day anymore. I'm still a diehard White Sox fan. They won the World Series on my 17th birthday. So honestly, they could win 4 championships in a row. It ain't getting better than that moment. So they are there. I love them. I kind of keep like I treat the Bulls and the White Sox kind of like your baby mother that you're no longer with. You know what I'm saying? Like you love them because they had your child.
Right.
You don't really fuck with them like that. That's just really where I'm at with the Bulls and the White Sox.
A little distance.
Yeah, it's a little distance. And I think it all comes down to Jerry Reinsdorf. Like, at the end of the day, he don't give a shit. And I think the cold pill for a lot of sports fans to accept is these owners, a lot of them, there's very select few. That you have the Mark Cubans. You have, who's the owner of the Mets? I'm forgetting his name.
Steve Cohen.
Steve Cohen. You have your owners who actually care about winning. Then there's the rest who just look at this like a tax write-off. And
exactly.
I'm not a billionaire, so I might be the same way. I don't know, but I like to win too much. So it's like I kind of feel like as long as he's the owner, nothing's gonna change. It's kind of like a revolving door. Like Rick Hahn is, Kenny and Rick Hahn the same thing. I love Kenny. I'm all for black people who keep their job being mediocre. I'm all for it. We need more Marvin Lewis's in America. I love Kenny for that.
Marvin Lewis.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
This 8-8 every year.
Exactly. You keep a job. That's
right,
the American dream. You know what I'm saying? It's like that Jay-Z line when Jay-Z told Nas in Takeover. That's one hot album every 10-year average.
Yeah.
I call Kenny Williams one hot album every 10-year average Williams. That's who he is.
That's right. Yeah,
so,
that's true.
Rick Hahn is a worse version. We all got mad at John Paxson. Gar Foreman, Arturis, and Mark Eversley ain't doing much better.
Right.
So it's kind of a repeating cycle of shit. So like I still, I scoreboard watch every night. So like I'm not like I don't know what's not going on. I know what's going on with the team. Like I watch enough. I have a group chat. Shout out my homie Mikey. He's the diehard White Sox fan. Like I'll tell him I don't give a shit, and he keeps sending me like quotes that Rick Hahn said. Like so, he's like, well, just off that, I'm in the loop of what's going on, but I'm not sitting down watching them every night. When I have a perfectly good baseball team in my area in the Dodgers, I can watch them.
Watch that. Exactly.
I can watch them. You know what I'm saying? I can watch it. So like I watch a couple innings. Like I watched a couple innings last week. Same for the Bulls. I maybe watched 20 Bulls games this year because after a while, you just know what kind of team this is. And I'm just not going to, do it. So, like, I'm done with it from, like, living and dying with every pitch. But I'm always be a White Sox. I'm never gonna like give them up and go full time Dodgers. Like I'll do my transplant thing and wear Dodger hat outside or some shit. But like,
yeah,
I'm not. I love them, but I don't really like them right now. I guess is the best way.
If they got back on track, you think you're you might get more aroused for them again. But for now, you're just a little incubation right now.
They need to cut the fat off, man. Like I feel like the thing what I love about White Sox Twitter is like it's such a passionate fan base. Like, and I sometimes it borderlines on whiny. Like sometimes
sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of times.
I have it in my Twitter bio that I'm a recovering crybaby. So I'm an expert on this. We're fucking crybabies. I gotta say it. Now we have a lot to complain about, valid, but we cry about a lot of shit.
It's a franchise that's over a century old and has only been to playoffs 11 times. So we do have shit to complain about. But it's like, if I look at every fan base in the city, Cub fans think they the fucking Yankees. So they live in a delusional state.
Yeah.
Like, you can't tell them they ain't got 27 rings. Like, y'all got the same amount as we do. Like, relax.
Yeah, chill out.
Yeah, so the Cubs fans are like that. Bulls fans are probably the most chill and realistic out of any of the Chicago sports fans. Like, you talk to a Bulls fan, they know these motherfuckers trash. They'll tell them they trash, but they still gonna watch. They still gonna fill the United Center up and do what they gonna do because it's a national brand. When every time the Bulls come to Staples Center, it's like United Center West every time. And there's so many Chicago transplants out here. Nice. So Bears fans, I love them, but like they legitimately do not know the game of football. Like it is like I'm not John Madden, but goddamn, like if y'all saw the 79th Halas mentions on a daily. Like sometimes my brother had to text me mid-season, stop calling our listeners fucking idiots. Like, I'm like, dude, like I've had people like I'm sitting at the game, they're like, I'm like, oh man, if Justin would have threw that shoulder. No, he wasn't open. What you looking at? I'm like, motherfucker, I'm here. Like, you gonna tell me I'm here? So, Bears fans legitimately do not know the game of football. Sox fans, they care so much that it borderlines on whiny, but there's still passion there. So that's what Chicago sports fans in general. So like I see where it's at, but it's like one thing that White Sox fans, I feel like it's been like the trouble. We don't know who to point the finger at for all this.
We're not exactly sure who's in charge of all this shit.
It's top down.
Yeah.
You have a cheap ass owner, like I said about Kenny, who has generated. He gonna retire next year and be good. You got Rick Hahn, who was god awful. He's
terrible. Yeah,
I don't know what the hell he be doing.
Yeah, he's probably the worst GM in baseball. I mean,
he's got to be. I mean, Jed Hoyer's giving him a rough run for his money. You talking about people? Jed Hoyer is like a guy who, like, he's like the guy who, Theo is so great. He's riding Theo's coattails, but he has done nothing since. So both GMs suck.
He traded Theo Anthony Rizzo. That's what he got. That's what he's gotten this lifetime contract for.
Like, okay, you were right about the core guys, but what about the new people? So
what's going on here? I do like though, Scott, that you at the 30-minute mark you said, you know what, you don't be an asshole, and then at the 50-minute mark you're like, yeah, fuck my listeners. They don't know what they're talking about.
This is what I love about the BarbersChair Network. They don't get offended by it. Like,
they don't care. They love it.
I tweeted on there. I was like, I'm going to stop cussing y'all out. And then I had like 5 people tweet. No, keep doing that. We like when you do that. So I tell people, anytime you come on a BarbersChair pod, we are the assholes talking to the assholes. Like, we know what we are. We know
your audience. I like that.
We know our audience. Like, I always say, if you're a sensitive person, it's like what Allen Iverson told people when he put out that rap album. If you don't like rap music, this ain't for you. If you are here for like your regular sports coverage, button-up suit, this ain't for you. All right, this is the NWO of sports coverage. Like, they're the establishment. I'm Eric Bischoff. So this is what this is. So, that's kind of like the engagement.
It's a real Chicago thing in a way, Scott, and people don't understand it quite. You get people moving here, and it's like they'll see, me and the fellas, the 108 guys cutting it up, and we're mercilessly busting each other's chops. And like, these people are so mean to each other. No, this is how we're friends. This is how you can tell we're friends.
It's like Chicagoans, man. We have like kind of like a tough love thing where I kind of feel like it's like New York, but New Yorkers are arrogant. Like Chicagoans, we're arrogant too, but like New Yorkers act like they're the king of the earth. Like Chicagoans, like we won't like go in on you for like not knowing certain shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like we'll troll you a little bit, and it's like that tough nature, and it's to the point where it's like moving away from home. And I always tell people, I feel like people should at least move away for like a couple months. It gave me like a different experience, and it kind of made me appreciate home more too because Chicago's a real city. Los Angeles is not a city. It is not a real place. Like when I try to tell people, it's not a real place. Like it's just so much shit. I could be up for another 3 hours telling you some wild shit I didn't see me down there. But Chicago is real. We love our sports. Everybody's passionate. Even if I don't agree with Bears fans, I know it's coming from a place of love because they love their team.
Yeah, they want the best for that team. They want that team to be good.
Yeah.
You know?
Whenever the Bears do win the Super Bowl, and I do honestly believe, y'all can quote me, I think it's going to happen in the next 5 years. This is not my Bears delusion. I believe in this kid, Justin Fields. Yeah. I think he is the guy.
So far, so good.
I think Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren, these are the guys that run this organization. And I believe there will be a parade in downtown Chicago by 2028. I truly believe that. And I feel like that's going to take Chicago to another level. And people don't understand. Like, we love the Bulls. We love the White Sox. We love the Cubs. There might not be a Chicago the day after that parade. Because, number one, I'm going to jail. I'm going to do some wild shit. All right. So we just got people who love our team. We kind of like be like the voice of that, to the point where like we can be professional, but we also fans at the same time. So it's like, and I also feel like one last thing, I'll wrap this up, but like one thing I'll say from the players that we run into, and for the most part, every athlete I've run into have been cool. Like I've only run into, there's only one athlete I mean was probably like rude, but then I understood more about him. I didn't get offended about it. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was like a dick to me, like if not to me, but like this dude I worked with. But then I watched a documentary on Kareem and I realized how he grew up, and like he just don't want to be bothered. I understood it more. Yeah. But a lot of these athletes are more comfortable with us because, you know, majority of these locker rooms are black. So they see somebody look like them, they're more comfortable. Right. So it's like, makes sense. I will be in the locker room, I'll say hi to Eddie Jackson or just more live. Let's say hi to us. Like my brother's a diehard Ohio State fan. Him and Justin have dialogue just off Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? It's like feel more comfortable with us, and I feel like we can get better coverage from that. So it's important for us to be there, for us to give like, you know, we can give our professional take. We can also be on the track like, yo, I love Eddie Jackson. I was like, he can't tackle. And he heard it too. By the way, he heard it. This is what, you never know. Like, you might use talking about like your YouTube subscribers. Like, you never know who's watching, bro.
Who's
like,
actually watching.
It's fucking crazy. Like my brother said that Eddie Jackson pulled up on him at practice. It was like, yo, your brother got a show, right? He's like, yeah. He's like, he started laughing, like, yo, tell him I saw that. And I saw him, I met him, and then like it was all good. You know, it was all good. But as long as you stand on your two, like I'm not gonna backtrack. Like, no, Eddie Jackson can't tackle. Like,
try to take. What do you want?
Yeah. He's a great intercepting, creating turnovers, but he can't tackle for shit. But it's like we have that border between fan and media person. I feel like people like and they feel like they're part of it. So that's pretty much what we want to do, and that's why we're gonna be throwing more events so we can have like more connections. That people can come out, kick it, have a good time, and pretty much appreciate what we do. Yeah,
live shows are great, and they're great for getting together with everyone that's part of your audience. Last thing, Scott, we got to get into this because I know you're a big Scottie Pippen fan. I'm a big Scottie Pippen fan. You had him as your goofy manga of the week. Tell me your thoughts on Scottie's recent thing, because I think I was originally in lockstep with you, but then I changed my mind. So I want to hear your thoughts on his most recent hijinks.
I will say this: one day, Goofy Mog of the Week is probably gonna get me pulled up on, but it comes with the territory. For people who are watching this who are not from Chicago, Goofy is the highest disrespect in the land. Like, I'd rather be might rather be called a bitch than be called Goofy. Like, those are fighting words. I wanted to keep my show authentic to Chicago. So I'm like, every week somebody does something crazy or out of pocket, I'm gonna give them a Goofy Mog of the Week. Now, I love Scottie Pippen. Got a lot of love Scottie. I was a bigger Scottie Pippen fan when I was a kid than Michael Jordan because we had the same name. I love how Scottie did the dirty work. Of course, Mike is Mike. Yeah. Y'all love MJ. He
untouchable, and everyone loves him. Exactly. Yeah.
Everybody love. I can sing "Be Like Mike" like I wrote it. Like, we're all Jordan fans. That's right. But I love how Scottie would defend the best player on the team. You know, Scottie guarding Magic in 91. Scottie, you know, guarding the best players on each team. He did the dirty work that Mike didn't have to do. And I just don't like to see him go out the way he's going out right now. And there's a couple problems I have with it. Main thing is, if you have a problem with Mike, talk to Mike about it. You know what I'm saying? Now, if Mike doesn't want to talk to you, we all know Mike is hard-headed. That's the reason him and Charles Barkley ain't friends anymore, because you got two hard-headed dudes and they don't want to talk. Two hard-headed, very rich guys at the same time. Let's get
big egos. They're not. Yeah,
big egos. We watch Chuck every damn week. Does he look like somebody who's going to apologize? No,
no.
So you got Scottie, and I feel where Scottie's coming from, because we've seen sports conversations. People are like, oh, he's the greatest Robin of all time. He's the greatest number 2. I feel like he's a top 50 player of all time. You know, I would feel disrespected too. But my problem is I feel like keep it in the family. In the words of Dom Toretto, keep it in the family. You know, if you have a problem with them, you know, dealing with him, don't go out here saying crazy shit. And over the last 20 years, he's been inconsistent. Like, remember, he used to work for ABC, ESPN. He was like, oh, well, Michael Jordan's greatest player of all time. Then it'd be, oh, Kobe Bryant's greatest player of all time. Then it's LeBron. Then it's, oh, well, the 2017 Warriors couldn't beat us because we got Mike. It's like, which one is it? Like, nobody put a gun in your head to do The Last Dance.
Right.
Nobody put a gun in. He's like, well, you didn't have to talk about the 94 incident why I got brought out the game. Well, the documentary had to cover the years that Mike wasn't there. And unless you're like 15 years old, everybody remembers when Scottie sat his ass down and Phil said, and I quote, fuck him, and had Tony
make the last shot. Yeah, exactly.
And it's not like, and I said this on the show, every documentary has propaganda. But Mike put in there when the Orlando Magic got in their ass and Nick Anderson stripped the ball. He put that in there. So why wasn't he put that in there? So I'm just like, if you have a problem with, now we all know, you know, Mike's son is dating his ex-wife. We're not
it's not great.
We ain't gonna get all that. But that's still like, let's just say Mike told him, like, don't be doing that shit. His son is 30. He can still tell dad, fuck off. Like, I'm doing what I
exactly.
Want to do. So I just want him to say whatever beef he has with Mike, to take it up with Mike, and don't have it to where us Bulls fans, we have a great view of you, and it's kind of makes the all-time great look bad, to where he's going around making these complaints, and he's inconsistent with the complaints. It's not like he has a consistent complaint. He's inconsistent with it, and you know, it's just bad, man. Like, you got Future talking about you in raps, bro. Like, damn, they want to take the jersey out. Like, what are we doing? So it's like, I just want him to chill, be an all-time great. And then he didn't even come to the 70. He didn't come to the top NBA 75 thing last year. Right. I guess he didn't want to run in the mic. Like, come on, dog. Like, you can't throw stones and hide your hand, bro. Come to the damn event.
Get out there.
If Isaiah Thomas was there and him and Mike really can't even be in the same room together, your ass can come, man. Like, come on, bro. So that's my problem. I got.
So Scott, I was right in lockstep with you. I heard all this shit, and I watched Stacey King's podcast to ingest all this, and I thought, you know, we need to kidnap Pip. We got to gag him. We got to make sure that he can't talk anymore. We got to keep him away from. I was even thinking, like, in the movie Casino, you know, when Andy Stone sits down with Ace Rothstein, like, keep this shit quiet. I was thinking we got to do that shit with Scottie, and then I changed my mind. I was like, you know what? Fuck it, man. Fuck Mike. Fuck Phil. Fuck the pussy ass media who didn't have the balls to like say stuff about Mike in the time. Like, I'm glad Scottie's out there. I know, I agree with you 100%. He's tarnishing his image, but I don't want all these stories lost. Like all this shit. Like, it turns out all these guys made out better out of this thing than he did, kind of. And he's equal part of all the championships. You know, like, obviously Phil got to go on and do all this stuff, and obviously Mike was, well, I mean, Mike did it for himself, though. Mike's a businessman. He made out. But regardless, in a way, I understand the pettiness. In a way, I want someone to keep it alive that these motherfuckers were not perfect. And Phil especially. Yeah. Phil is really showing his ass the last few years. So keep the heat up on that motherfucker.
You can say whatever you want to say about Phil. I ain't got nothing to say about Phil Jackson. But and you're right about that. I do agree with that. And I think that's also the power of Jordan. There's a quote that's the winner's story. And, you know, and Scottie is a winner, by the way. We're not saying that Scottie isn't a winner, but he's Michael fucking Jordan. Like, you can't win that battle. Like, prime example, LeBron James. LeBron James, in my opinion, is the second greatest basketball player I've ever seen. If anybody watch my show, y'all know I am the furthest thing from a LeBron James fan. Like, when I was around LeBron, I was like, me and LeBron were like this close to each other. And it was like, I don't know if anybody watched Power. It was like when Ghost and Kanan saw each other for the first time. I was like, I don't really like this guy. But it was that kind of thing. But it's like, you have so many people where it don't matter what LeBron does, you're not Jordan. So it's like, it's hard to go against that. And I know Scottie probably like, man, fuck dude. He wouldn't have nothing without me either. But what's funny is Mike said that in episode 1. I wouldn't have shit without Scottie Pippen. So it's like, to me, it's just kind of like, I feel you, but it's like, bro, like, you're not gonna win that battle. You're just not gonna win it. Like, I feel you, but it's pointless. As a Bulls fan, I love Scottie Pippen. The '90s Bulls spoiled me as a kid. Like, they're the reason I thought sports fandom was supposed to be this way. When '99 came, and I asked my mama when we going to, and I realized there wasn't no parade we was going to. I was like, okay, what the hell? Like, it's different. So like, just off that, like, you know, and I feel Scottie too in this last thing. Look how they treat Steve Kerr. Now look, Steve Kerr, one of the greatest coaches of all time, one of the greatest of this latest dynasty in the world. But let's cut the shit. They put this man on the Last Dance cover. What are we doing? What are we doing? He made one shot.
That's right. He's a bit player.
How is he on that cover over Tony Kukoc? What are we doing? How does Steve Kerr get like 3 episodes worth of dialogue, but we hear from Ron Harper one time?
Right, exactly.
One time, and it wasn't even about him being a Bull. It was about him. He was with Cleveland.
So, exactly.
I get Scottie's beef. I just, as a fan of his, I just want him to, like, you're just not gonna win this, my guy. Like, you're just gonna have to take your losses and just accept your place as one of the greatest of all time. And you got millions of dollars, and you got 6 replica championships in your house. Take it, embrace it, bro, because there's no winners against Big Mike. Like, Mike just got $2 billion last week selling the Hornets. He probably don't even know what Scottie Pippen's doing.
Yeah, exactly. Nor does he actually care. Scott, thank you so much thank you so much for bestowing your wisdom on creating a brand, not buying in on the White Sox and Scottie Pippen. Remember, we ain't trying to be right on this show. We're just trying to understand. You got anything you want to plug before you leave?
Yeah. Oh man, just follow me on Twitter at BarberChair Scott. Visit the BarberChair website, bcnet.com. Everything we do is up there. All our links to everything is up there, man. We appreciate everybody for, fucking with us. And thank you, G. I love, love being on the show whenever y'all need me on, man. We can get drunk next time.
Let's do it.
When I lift my attending White Sox games ban, I will go over there because I'm boycotting.
Yeah, definitely. When you do decide to come through.
When I lift it, because Jerry Reinsdorf will not be getting $1 out of me. Not from concessions, not from anything. Until this changes, we definitely gonna get a drink, my man. But I appreciate being on here.
Sounds good. You take care, Scott. That was Scott Lewis. That was great, man. That was an excellent interview. I absolutely loved it. Next week's guest is going to be Jim Margulis. I've done a lot of stuff with Sox Machine over the years, but I've never gotten a little one-on-one with Jim Margulis. We're going to talk a little bit about writing. He's the most prolific writer in Sox Twitter, so I want to get him in here and talk to him. Thanks again to Scott Lewis. Thanks to all the 108 family who's up in the comments. Appreciate you smashing the like button, and, of course, the tips and drinks as well. Peace. We'll see you soon, and I love all of you.